Hi there, Warriors, and welcome to this stream of the Uruguayan Heroes YouTube channel. Today, we will obviously look ahead to the qualifier against Bolivia, which is almost starting. It's now 90 minutes before the kickoff, and Uruguay will play against Bolivia in a game which, well, there's only one result that counts, and it should be achieved, and it is to win. Uruguay have gone with a team. The lineup's not clear yet; it's not announced yet, but this is the lineup that most likely will be the lineup today. I'm sure you already have seen it, but it's Muslera, it's Naita Hernandez on right back, Jimenez Godin at the center back, Piqueres, who replaces Finha, who has some injury problems. Then in midfield, Valverde against with Ficino and Bentancur. Ficino probably as the holding midfielder. And in attack, Brian Rodriguez, Jordan Darasqueta, and in the number 9 position, the debut of Agustin Alvarez Martinez, El Canario, which I find the most exciting thing of tonight. To see a player like this, a new player, a young player, exciting player, come on the scene and hopefully score a goal. This will be great to see. Hello, Nicolas. Nicolas, good to see you here. Good afternoon. Yeah, where I'm at now, it's evening. I'm at my home, obviously, with the shirts behind me, but now I'm not at home, so this is why the background is different. So yeah, so let's have a look at the game. For me, Uruguay against Bolivia at home, we do concede some goals sometimes against Bolivia. 4-2 were the last two games, but usually there's a good scoreline, a big scoreline, because Bolivia, with all due respect, when they're away from La Paz, away from the dazzling heights, um, then they're not that much of a threat. So normally we should win this game quite easily. Um, and I believe this is what we will do. Obviously, we miss Suarez and Cavani, the two top strikers of Uruguayan football in the last 15 years. But there are not enough good players in this team to make a difference. And hopefully, Agustin Alvarez Martinez can do this as well. Because, yeah, I mean, I haven't watched all the games for Peñarol, but certainly the Sudamericana games I've watched from him. And it's so clear to see that he is an exciting talent. And the funny thing, or the brilliant thing I think about him is that he is just on the scene. He's just debuted in a year. A year ago he debuted for Peñarol, and since then he's just scored goals, developing, and such a good young striker. Hello, Nando. Good to see you here. Um, so yeah, hopefully he can show immediately that he is one for the future. But if that's not the case and he struggles, it can happen. It shouldn't be so much pressure on this young guy. But I'm excited to see what he can do. So yeah, so we will see the game. I thought let's talk a little bit about the Brazil against Argentina game, because obviously it's another example of CONMEBOL being probably the worst footballing organization in the world. So the game obviously got called off now because Argentina got 4 players from the Premier League, and they falsified documents. So the Brazilian health authority, they came on to the pitch after a few minutes were played, and they basically said this game is not going ahead because they should not be here. They should have quarantined and stuff like this. The thing with this is, it obviously was a long time clear that the players from the Premier League were not allowed to travel. However, frustrating it is, and I think it's frustrating, and I think it's well a bit well. There's some double standards, but it's the case. So when you do this, like Argentina, because Brazil didn't, Uruguay didn't, or Argentina allowed these players to come, then there is gonna be things like this where an health health sorry so the health people in Brazil, they will say, well, this is not happening, because Brazil obviously is one of the countries which is most affected by the COVID virus at this moment. So CONMEBOL can say what they want, and the Brazilian Football Association as well, but they only think about football because it makes them money. So of course they're going to let these games go ahead because it brings them money. This is the only reason why the Copa America went through. It's not because they are such football fans, Bolsonaro and people like this, they only care about money. But the health secretary obviously got some other priorities. So for me, what they did is okay. I think they should have done it earlier, but reports are now that they were only instructed to do this in, well, last few hours. But whatever, it happened. But the problem is that CONMEBOL allowed this to happen because when the statement of the Premier League came, they know what they were dealing with. So make a decision, and whatever decision you make, maybe I dislike it, maybe you dislike it, whatever. But you make a decision. But you don't let this become a thing where South American football once again gets the headlines for the wrong reasons, and everybody laughs at how bad this has gone. Because whatever you want to think about it, it's just ridiculous to see it. So um, I don't. I don't really. Yeah, I just when I watched it, I was really a little bit in disbelief, and I know a lot of things happen in South American football, a lot of mad things, but this was just such ridiculous thing, where when the health secretary came on the pitch, well, whatever, it happened, and the rumors that Argentina gets the win. I'm not sure if this is true, and I'm not sure why this is the case. But the rumor is that this is the case, and it's not just something I heard from someone that was actually a good account who normally gives reliable information who said this. But we will see. Having said this, let's focus back on the game. I want to know for the people that are in the stream, the three people now, um, what um, what your feeling is about the game. Maybe a score prediction. Yeah, just your feeling. It's obviously a game with the fans back in the stadium. 50,000 Uruguayans in the Campeón del Siglo, the Peñarol Stadium, not the Centenario, because this, as we all know, is being remodeled for the finals of the Sudamericana and Libertadores tournament. So Uruguay, away from home, you could say, will be facing Bolivia, but with fans back in the stadium, and this is the most important thing. And hopefully, it has a positive effect on the players, because let's say it like this: when you play against Bolivia at home and you're drawing with no goals after, let's say, 60 minutes or even 40 minutes, and you're not showing intent, you're not going for it, then people will let you know it, because last game against Peru, I mean, you can say a draw in Lima is okay. Sure, you can do this. And the truth is that Uruguay have struggled with Peru in the last few years. But this Peru side were nowhere near the level they were in their best games in the last few years. So this Peru side were absolutely nothing special in my opinion, and they didn't play well. But they eventually got the upper hand in the game in the second half. In the last 25, 30 minutes, they were the better team. It's not like they created many things, but Uruguay were just passive in the box, defending the box, almost doing nothing on the attack, on the counter attack. And when you got a team like we have, even without Suarez and Cavani, when you got players like Valverde, Bentancur, these players, Tarasqueta in Flamengo, in Brazil, a star, good young fullbacks, um, who really are good in the attacking side of the game, then you have, for me, the obligation to play to win. And certainly, when you play against opponents that are inferior to you, I mean, if you're drawing away in Brazil, Argentina, I understand it, but this is not the case. So when you go to places like Lima, which, I mean, I'm not saying this is an easy game, because in South American football there are no easy games in the qualifiers, but for sure you have to play more football. And we all know this is, at the end of the day, this is why I want Tabras not to be a Uruguayan manager anymore, because he is not the manager that will bring us this next step of attractive football. And I'm not saying free flowing whatever football, not like fluid or anything. I'm not saying it's complete change of identity, but surely go and win a game, or go and try and win a game where when you're drawing away from home or at home, whatever. Because the games against Venezuela and Paraguay before the Copa America, I mean, these are another two examples of games that which showed little to no intent to win the game, and this is disappointing. But yeah, it's a problem that we have had for a while. So I'm gonna have a look at the comments. Brian Shea, interesting at the Peñarol Stadium. Yeah, sure, it's a different experience. The national fans, I don't think will like it, but it will be interesting to see. Lisa, Brian as well, good to see you here. Do you think that Maxi deserves to be benched? Not really, because I had a discussion with someone on Twitter about Maxi Gomez and that he was mediocre or that he was not good enough. And I mean, this is an opinion, so you can disagree or agree. But what I think is the game against Peru, he got no chance to really show himself because Maxi Gomez is a striker. Who needs service because you have strikers, they create something of their own. Karim Benzema is someone like this. Luis Suarez, back in the days, not so much anymore, but back in the days, he could create something out of nothing. But Maxi Gomez surely is a striker that needs service. And when he doesn't get service, and then when he's constantly playing with 40 meters ahead of him, and maybe one or two wide players at either side of him, and getting no balls, you can't expect him to make something extraordinary happen. This is not the player he is. So in that sense, I don't think he deserved to be benched. I think when he would have played today in the starting lineup, he would have done much better. Um, because it's a game where Uruguay will be on the front foot, will be on the half of Bolivia, so he will get more balls and hopefully he would get some chances. On the other note, I don't think Maxi should have. I don't think Maxi Gomez should have started ahead of Jonathan Rodriguez in the game against Peru, because when you purely look on the form, and I had a discussion also with someone on Twitter, when you look purely on form, which is a really important thing when you select players in international football, um, then Maxi Gomez is not the one. Jonathan Rodriguez has been much better in form in Mexico, um, and I think he should have deserved to start in Peru. But when he came on, he didn't do himself justice, and he was really poor. But yeah, these things happen. Okay, next comment. I'm not gonna read the name because I don't think I can do it. I don't think I will be able to do it. He says I don't rate Maxi at all for when he plays for La Celeste. No, but when does he play for La Celeste? The only way he plays is from the bench. And to be honest, he got a really important goal against Chile in the first match of the qualifying tournament. And he starts, I think, 3 or 4 games in his Uruguay career. So it's not easy to be a striker in Uruguay when you're not named Luis Suarez or Cavani. Stuani has been the same. And Stuani has been, well, really been given a hard time by Uruguay fans because he didn't show it. But when you play with Suarez and Cavani ahead of you, it's a hard time you have. But yeah. Nando says, all I know is we gotta win, bro. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we don't win today, then yeah, I think for anyone who booked their tickets to Qatar, you can cancel it because I mean I'm joking obviously, but yeah, we have to win for sure. I'd rather have had Areso being picked instead of Maxi. Yeah, maybe, but I mean I understand what you're saying, but in terms of form and somebody who is arriving on the scene and exciting, but we all know we got a manager who always will keep his players and he'll always back his players who he has chosen for years. So we all know it's not going to happen. The fact that Agustin Alvarez Martinez was called up was a surprise to me because it's not something. I mean, no, it would be more Tabres to get Stuani back or something like this, Christian Stuani. So it's not really. It's I don't. It's not happening often that he just drops a player that has been there for a long time. You always back the players that have been there for many years, and sometimes it's frustrating like this case maybe, but sometimes it's also okay because it's a good quality to have to give your players another chance or to trust some players. In some cases it works out, and in some cases it really is frustrating. So yeah, um, yeah. Another comment. Yeah, you're completely right about having a new manager to play more attractive modern football, and Uruguay now has the players to do it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I believe it. This is what we should do, but it's not happening until after the World Cup. Obviously, if we qualify, so we will have the debate another time. Then um, I think Uruguay had a good first half as first Peru, says Nando. Decent. I mean, what do you define as good? I think we pressed quite high in the pitch, which surprised me a little bit. And this we did well, but we did not create many chances. I mean, the goal from De Rasqueta, it was not even a big chance, you know. It was a ball which which it was at first there was a combination and the ball stayed in the end of edge of the box and De Rasqueta just hit it really nicely, but it was not a chance or anything like this. The biggest chance we had was when Bentancur played in Vinia on the left side, and Vinia should have cut it back to Maxi Gomez for a tap in. Didn't happen. So these are two moments, and not many more moments were in the game and in the first half. So it was decent in my opinion. Brian Shea says, haven't seen a corner header in a while for Godin or Jimenez. They're lacking physicality. Yeah, I have neither. And to be honest, when I watch Atletico, and I watch Atletico a lot, I see Jimenez always in the corners, obviously, and also connecting sometimes with the ball. But it's not. He scores too little for me in this situation because when you can jump like Josema and when you have a header like Josema, you should be scoring more goals from the corner kick. But hopefully we see you tonight. And Godin, also the same case, not as much as he did. Obviously, this is one of his biggest strengths for me, for Atletico, but also for Uruguay. Scored the big goal against Italy in the World Cup, but also in the qualifying tournament to the Russia World Cup. Scored so many good and important goals from the set piece. Nicolas says, yeah, I feel like Uruguay in the past couple of years scored so many from corners and free kicks, but I haven't really seen that past year and a half. Nope, same, yeah. I totally agree, and we should do this because traditionally this is something that Uruguay do well, and it's not like we don't have the players. So hopefully this can be the case tonight, or maybe even more in the following games. Yeah. So I'm gonna we'll tweet out so that we're live for some people who missed it, and then we'll continue the conversation. I would like to know the scoreline predictions for you and the goal scores maybe. So yeah, I'm for myself. I think I go for a 3-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. But I will go for a 3-0 scoreline. So let me know what you think. And what will be the scoreline today? So yes. Torn that Finia won't start, but Picares deserves a start. Yeah, I mean Finia obviously a great player for us in the last year. For me, in my opinion, defensively he has things to improve, but in tech he's so good. Um, but he's injured, minor injury, but he is injured. So I understand that he won't play. And Piqueres, he was really good when he came on. I mean, defensively he did really well. And then the shot in the last minute that blasted onto the post. I I was screaming like mad, and because I thought I was shocked that it happened because normally when these things happen when a defender a lot of times does this, shoot from outside of the box, so all of a sudden then I always think by myself, why do you do this? Because so many times I've seen it go in the crowd or wherever, but nowhere near the goal. So when he did this, when I saw him preparing to take a shot, I was like this, no, because obviously we had the last chance of the game, and then he hit it so sweetly, and then he hit it on a post. It's a shame for him as well, for him especially because making your debut for Uruguay and scoring this goal, what a way, what a debut it would have been. Yeah. Brian Shea says 4-1 win for Uruguay. Another one whose name I simply cannot pronunciate because there are a lot of numbers or letters behind each other and there are no correlation or whatever. He says 4-0 would be nice. Um, and Nando says, I like the way we moved the ball during the first half. Okay, yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah. I mean, when you traditionally watch Uruguay, certainly in the last 10 years, maybe, surely the moving of the ball in midfield has been way better because when you got someone like Bentancur or Valverde, this comes naturally because they are better players on the ball. And Bentancur, for me, played quite well in the first half, but I don't I don't really go on to this hype train of him being a masterclass first half or game because what you have to realize as well is he gave also so many. He died or he killed quite a few attacks with just rushing play, just balls going well, not to the right place in my opinion. So this is something that I don't like because I know he can do better. Because this is what I'm judging Bentancur as. I'm judging Bentancur as someone that can be a fighter player for Uruguay and can be maybe one of the best midfielders in South America or in the world. It's all up to him how he develops. So when I see him rushing plays, making stupid mistakes, in my eyes, then it really frustrates me because I know he's a player that can do better. When I saw Arafalo Rios do this, and let's get it clear, I love Aravalo for everything he's done and for the defensive midfielder he was. But when I see him misplace a pass or rush a play, well, I mean, I don't like it obviously because I want to see Uruguay on the ball. But I realize that this is a player whose quality on the ball is far inferior to someone like Bentancur. So when he does it, Bentancur, then it frustrates me and yeah. So this is why I didn't really go along with this masterclass like some people said it, and it's okay to say it, but I don't agree with it. Um, he said, yeah, if that shot would have gone in, we won. Yeah, we would have won. Nando says 2-1. It's a bit negative 2-1. I mean, winning 2-1, it's a win, but winning 2-1 at home against Bolivia, for me, that would be a bit underwhelming. Bizarre Belly says, I'm from the Arab Gulf, big fan of Uruguay. Good to have you here, and I hope you're doing well. So yeah, I think we covered most things. I'm having a look at what I've written down here to talk about. Uh, so yeah, about maybe talk a little bit more about Canario, uh, Alvarez, who 20 years of age, making his debut. What our expectations are. Um, it's really nice to see players like him. First, it was Darwin Nunez, young striker coming in. Before that, even it was Maxi Gomez. Now it's Agustin Alvarez Martinez. Maybe soon it will be Matias Areso. Maybe later Marte Satriano. And these are five names on the top of my head, which are really good young strikers. And even though we will lose Suarez and Cavani in the next few years, it is great to have these kind of players coming through. And I mean, for all what's worth, maybe in 2 years' time, nobody will even talk about, let's say, Matias Areso. Maybe he will fall off like crazy, and he will be playing somewhere we don't know, So he will be completely going into the oblivion. Um, Maybe this is the case, but for now, these are all really talented players with big potential, who I believe can become good strikers, great strikers. Maybe this is all the development will show because people like Nicolas Chiapacaste, Nico Lopez, these are two players who arrived on the scene in Uruguay, and yeah, they were really talented. Nico Lopez for the Under 20 World Cup campaign in Turkey in 2013. Chiapas Americano in 2017 on the top of my head. So these players arrive on the scene and they take your eye, and then eventually they don't they don't live up to their potential. But this is the way football goes. So we will see what happens. The only thing we know is that Agustin Alvarez Martinez will play tonight, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. Yeah, and the same with Piqueres. This is also something how a career can go. Piqueres, Joaquin Piqueres, he was for at Defensive Sporting like 3 years ago. He was he left because they didn't really want him there anymore. Went to River Plate Montevideo, did really well. Was bought by Peñarol, and for Peñarol, he kept growing, kept developing, and also raised his level. And then now he was signed a few weeks ago by Palmeiras, the reigning Copa Libertadores champions, to replace Matias Vinha, who obviously went to Roma. So this is just a case of a player who goes from zero to 100, in his career, or 100 maybe not, but he goes from quite a low, and he just is suddenly up there, and now he's going to debut for Uruguay. This is amazing to see, and yeah, I'm also looking forward to seeing how he does Nicolas says 3-1, I think. Yeah, I said 3-0, 3-1. I hope we get a clean sheet. And even with this defense, I would have gone differently. For me, Godin, uh, of course, our captain and one of the, well, maybe one of the best defenders of Uruguayan football history. Um, so all the respect, but for me, Araujo should have started. I mean, Ronald Araujo was one of the most promising central defenders in Europe. Diego Godin is 35 years of age, and he's been deteriorating in the last 2 years. And I mean, we can keep playing players because of the name they are and because of what they've brought the team and the country. But there's at some point you have to switch to the next generation, and we will see it with Suarez and Cavani in the next few years. And we have to see it with Godin as well, because Araujo and also Coates, who is now injured, they deserve to play for Uruguay more than Godin because they are at the higher level at their clubs. They are playing better. They are just at the higher level, and Godin knows this himself as well. And Tabares, maybe he knows it, but he doesn't acknowledge it, and he will never. He likes, yeah. I don't think he will ever ever do it. Hopefully, he will. But for me, if we start the World Cup, if we qualify, I mean, we have to say if because we're not there for sure. We aren't. But if we qualify for the World Cup and we play the World Cup, and if Godin is still playing for us at centre back, I think we only shooting ourselves in the foot because we got two players, Araujo who's coming up and Coates who is at the peak of his career. Sebastian Coates, he has never been better than he is at this moment when he's playing for Sporting, captain of the they become champions. They will play Champions League this season. And when you have a player on this level and who's doing so well, you have to take advantage of it. Coates played. I don't think he made a minute. No, he made 45 minutes. 45 minutes in the Copa America against, I think it was Paraguay when Godin went off injured and he came on in the second half. But he played 45 minutes. He hasn't played in the last game. He hasn't played against in qualifiers before the Copa America. Paraguay and Venezuela. Um, and then you talk about a player who's been so good for his club, and we just say Tavares just ignores him and plays someone despite being a legend who has not had a good season at Cagliari, almost relegated. Whenever he plays for Uruguay, he is not the Godin he used to be. When are we going to say, okay, I mean, Godin, we love you, Diego, but Araujo is here, Coates is here. We got players who should take over. So yeah, let's look at the comments. Why was Nunez not fit for the team? Injured? Well, he just got back from injury. So I think this is why probably they had communication with Benfica, and probably it was the case that Benfica asked from, well, he's just back from injury. Can he stay here? Keep getting to his best level in training. And yeah, I think this is the case, and I agree with it, to be honest, because yeah, he's at 3 months out. So it's good to see him well recover just easily and not immediately go back to the national team. Yeah, I think this is the best way to do it. Nando says Alvarez playing striker. I think the lineups are out. You're right. I believe so. And they actually updated the lineup presentation on Twitter. That's also nice. Normally it was just a photo. Now it's a little bit of a video. So yeah, as confirmed or as was already the case, as we knew, Muslera, Knight Hernandez, Jimenez, Godin, Piqueres, Valverde, Ficino, Bentancur, Darasqueta, Brian Rodriguez, and Agustin Alvarez Martinez. And let's have a look, because okay, the two players that have not been called up are Matias Vinha and Federico Martinez. Martinez, who got his first call up, Uruguay call up this week, but he's not been in the squad. Okay, let's look at the comments again. Araujo deserves it 100%. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Lugano exited the club about when he should have. Do you think it's Brian say? You mean he stopped when it was the right time, you mean? This was the case. And yeah, if you ask if Godin should do the same, yeah, in my opinion, he should. But it's hard, because these players, their biggest pride in their life probably or in football is to represent their team. You see it when Cavani was not allowed to travel, how hurt he was when he at the interview on Uruguay TV. So it's hard, but for me, it's not a job of Godin to say I can't play anymore. It's a job for the manager Tabares to make this decision. Nicolas says haven't seen Arajo play except I think we got scored on 4 times against Paraguay, Ecuador. Yeah, I know the game you mean. I might be wrong, but I want to see him play and give him a chance. Love Godin. I think he's still great. Yeah, the game against Ecuador, 4 times. This was his only or his debut for Uruguay. Um, but for me, he was just one. Yeah, the whole team was off that day, completely off. The whole team just failed. So I wouldn't be hard on him for this. Um, I love Rodina. Still think he's a great player, but he shouldn't be starting 100% of the time either. No, that's right. I mean, I'm not saying Godin is completely gone. That he offers nothing anymore. No, but like you say, Uruguay or Tabares doesn't rotate at all. So in the Copa America, Godin played every game. Jimenez played every game. And a few others who played every game. And this is okay when you have only 12, 13 players that are up to the level. But Uruguay actually got a whole squad who is on a good level. So take advantage of it. Farid Haji says there was a conversation Lugano had on a show. Jorge Ramos, okay. Isubanda, and my understanding from it is that Maestro gives his player autonomy to decide when to allow another player to start, but sort of. For example, if you can't practice, then you're not playing, so figure it out to practice. Um, I'm trying to get the point. Oh, yeah. You mean that the player basically decides for himself, whether to play or not, or another player to play or not. Well, I understand. Yeah. Okay, this is what you mean. Yeah, you confirm it now. Yeah, I mean, this is a bad place to be in, right? I mean, obviously, a conversation or communication between the player and the manager is absolutely key and vital. We should always have it. But players deciding for themselves if they are fit to play or they're good to play, that obviously is well, that's not how it should be. But maybe I think this is things. Yeah, I'm not sure if this happens, but I hope not happening. But if Lugano says it, well, then then it's hard to deny. Um okay, now I get it. So Lugano shared a story from 2014. He was hurt and told Maestro that he's playing. Maestro told him, "Can you practice? You can't practice. You can't play." No. Okay. No, no, I get that sentiment, and obviously, if you can't practice, you can't play. Well, at least if you're Suarez, then you can, because Suarez obviously returns from an injury operation, and 4 weeks later he scores against England. But this is another story. But the thing is, when a player like Lugano or Suarez in his prime time, he says this, then yeah, I understand it, because when a player is at this level and he is so good, then I mean, if then he maybe can decide if he plays. But when you got a player like Godin, who is not at this level anymore, then it's hard to keep playing him, even if he wants him himself and even if he demands it himself, because it only hurts the team. So yeah. Another comment: Godin is still an amazing player to have for the team atmosphere, even he's not playing all the games. No, for sure. I mean, Godin, if he plays, I don't think he should play all the time, but he should always be on the squad for the coming 18 months until the World Cup, if we qualify. For sure, he's our captain, and he's still a good player. But yeah, we just have to give time and also chances to the younger players. Um, Another comment: What do you want? Who do you want to win in the Ecuador Chile game? I never want Chile to win because, well, for obvious reasons. In this case, maybe it would be better for them to win, but I think a draw would be the best for us, because Ecuador is now third with 12 points, 3 points more than we have. But it's not like Chile are not the competition anymore, because Chile, I'm having a look right now because I don't know it for sure. I think Chile is something like 7 or 8 points. Let me have a look. They just kicked off as well, by the way. 7 points, Chile, or no, 6 points, 6 points. So, and we have to go to Santiago, which probably will be quite full. because I think the step now with 15,000 fans in the stadium in Uruguay and other stadiums as well, we only take more steps, you know. So maybe in the November or in November or the March qualifiers, there will be more fans. So if you go to Santiago in front of 40,000 fans in Chile, it will never be an easy game. Nando says Tavares likes to choose experience over present performance. He has a hard time sitting with all this. Yeah, he certainly has the hard time to really sit out or to substitute or give rest, you know, to older players. We all know this. This is frustrating sometimes, in my opinion. Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, who do you think is the best Uruguayan striker after Suarez and Cavani? In my opinion, it's Darwin Nunez. And who do you think is a good goalkeeper for Uruguay apart from Muslera? So the first question, at this moment, well, it's hard to say at this moment because Darwin has not played any game or has played one game this season. Darwin, when he is in his top form, probably Darwin Nunez. But I think there are a lot of strikers who come close to it already, like Canario, who plays today. I think Juan Ignacio Ramirez, who's now gone to Saint Etienne in France, is a really quality striker, certainly in Uruguayan football. So we always have to see how they do in Europe. But I think I will go with Darwin. Darwin at this moment is possibly the best young striker. But if we move on, I mean, you have Nico Lopez, you have Jonathan Rodriguez, players in Mexico who are doing so well. So yeah, these players also have to be mentioned because, and that's the beauty for me about Uruguayan football at this moment is that there are so many players abroad in Mexico, in Brazil, in Argentina, in Europe, obviously, who are doing well. This is always every week, every weekend. I love to follow it, and I think we all do. Chances of Pep coaching Uruguay after the World Cup. So I had a conversation with someone on Twitter if Pep Guardiola maybe would have been interested in managing Uruguay because he stated that his next job after Man City would probably be to go into international football. Um, I mean, obviously would be something, but I don't think he will be thinking about Uruguay. I think he will be thinking about Brazil, Argentina, France, teams like this, you know. But obviously, it would be quite nice for me, and I think I've told it many times. The best option at this moment because I believe Uruguay should have a Uruguayan coach. You know, England should have English coach. I mean, this. I think you have to have a coach of your own country. This is my opinion. I mean, you can disagree, and there are good reasons to disagree as well. But this is my opinion. And the best Uruguayan coach at this moment, in my eyes, is Guillermo Almada from Santos Laguna. So yeah, I hope he can. I hope he will be the next Uruguay manager after Tabares. But knowing the Uruguayan Football Association, it will probably be Fabian Coito, who managed the Uruguay on a 20 side. And if this will be the case, then I think we will be having another few really frustrating years. Another comment says Parmeswar Sri Fastava. I gave it my best shot, but I probably got it massively wrong. I do recognize your name from Twitter, by the way. So nice to have you here on the stream. Tatsan Vecino seems to be working hard post his injury. Inzaghi also seems to be a fan. Do you think you can revive? Do you think he can revive himself and be more consistent for Uruguay? I hope so, obviously. But for me, what doesn't help him at this moment is that he's playing as the holding midfielder for Uruguay. He starts today. He started against Peru um, in this position because this is the position where he played in 2016, 17, 18. In the time just before the young players like Valverde, like Bentancur, really came through. And Uruguay at this moment had a midfield mostly of Arafal Rios, you know, in 2014, 15, 16, of Arafal Rios, Tata Gonzalez, sometimes Lodero or Gaston Ramirez, but mostly really hardworking, defensive minded, and limited footballers in the midfield. So when Vecino came through, um, he was given the role as basically the footballing leader of Uruguay. And he is a good footballer, don't get me wrong. But for me, he's more a runner. So he should be more, he's a more midfielder that goes from box to box, doing well in defense, but also getting in the other box and making well danger, in their box. But he's not the technical player on the ball, in my opinion, and he shouldn't be a sitting midfielder, because for me he is not the best when he has the game in front of his. He should be moving up and down the pitch, getting involved. So when he is playing like he is now, as basically a holding midfielder, a bit of a regista, as they call in Italy, um, then it's not his best position. So it would help him to play in his best position, which is a number 8 position. Um, but like you say, he's working hard. Inzaghi seems to be a fan, so hopefully he can have better season this season, because last season obviously he was injured a lot of the times. Um, Gian Casalino, hi there. Good to have you. Good to see you here. And he has another question, or has a question. I've always had a question. Do you have relatives from Uruguay, or why you are so keen on El Pasito? Um, the funniest thing is, and I did a podcast um, with Alessandro Fina, who previously did work for La Celeste blog. Maybe you know it. La Celeste blog has been offline for since a few years, but before that they were probably the biggest, or were the biggest blog or Uruguayan football website in English. Yeah, there you have it. Alessandro Vina with the comment. So I did a podcast with him. We did 2 or 3. We haven't done it since. Maybe we will get it back up. But so we did a podcast and we talked about a lot of things, and mainly, or also my love for Uruguayan football. And he also asked, "Do you come from Uruguay? Because your name doesn't sound Uruguayan, and which is the case. And I'm not Uruguayan. And to be honest, I don't have relatives from Uruguay. And we discussed it in the podcast, and how my roots, how my love came from Uruguayan football since I was, I think, well, probably 14, 13, and I'm not 25. So it's not something that is born in my blood, like they said, but it's something that just as you get older, you see things and which you like and which you love, and this is Uruguay. Um, so no, to answer your question, I don't have relatives from Uruguay. But to be honest, I feel more attached to Uruguay than I do to my own country. Probably won't like it. They won't like to hear it here, maybe, but that is the case. So Nando says, I know he's a winger, but Brian is awesome. Yeah, Brian Rodriguez is awesome. He's had a tough 1 or 2 years in the last the last 1 or 2 years. But his goal against LA Galaxy in the last weekend, or the weekend before, was amazing. And this is what Brian Rodriguez is, somebody who is fearless. He has no fear when he plays, or when he plays at his best, he has no fear. So he has no doubts, and he just does it. And sometimes it goes wrong, but when it clicks and when he's in his best form, he does things like this. Great dribbles, explosive, and with a finish like that, blasted it into the top of the net. And I hope we see Brian Rodriguez as we know him from the first few games for Uruguay. I hope to see him again tonight, because when he is in his form, and when he goes at players, then there are a few players I enjoy more on the Uruguayan national team than him. Um, so thanks for Parmesan for you do a great job you do a great job in covering Uruguayan football. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I like to do it, and I like to do it a lot. And as you all know, the Twitter account was suspended. This is also probably why we didn't go through with the podcasts with Alessandro Fino in the last few months, because it was a bit secondary at the moment. But we will probably resume it soon. But the Twitter account was suspended. I still hope to get it back, and I'm still really mad about it, because it's total injustice in my eyes. But it is the case. So hopefully get it back soon. But even if we don't get it, if I don't get it back, I will always keep doing it because I love it. Uh, and also I also really like the kind of community we have on the online, online on Twitter to talk about Uruguay. And I mean, I come from a country. I will live in the Netherlands. Somebody will live in India. Somebody will live in England. People will live in Uruguay. But it doesn't matter. You come together online and just talk about the team and the players we love. This is the great thing about this community, as I like to call it. Um, Another question. I think we're going to round it off in a few minutes because I'm also gonna eat something before the match starts. So and we all already are 45 minutes in. But thanks for everybody who has been watching. Not going. We're not ending it right now, but in a few minutes. So, but thanks for everybody who's watching and who's asking questions. Really enjoyed it so far. Another question. What are your thoughts on Palistri? Facundo Palistri. You know what? I think he's a great young player. So this is not the thing I'm kind of doubting about. But I think he made the wrong move by going to Alaves on loan. And first, at the start of the season, I thought, well, he was there last season. He will come there again. Will be brilliant. Will be brilliant to see him again. He knows the place. But then I've started to watch a little bit. I'm not watching all the games of Alaves because I watch a lot of football, but I also do got a little bit of a life. So I'm not watching every game. But I did watch a few things of Alaves, and Alaves are a team that is really negative in terms of the way they approach the game. So for me, it would even be better maybe to let him go out on loan at the Segunda side. So at a club like Almeria or a club like Sporting Gijón, where they just play on the front foot most of the times, and then he can play to the best of his abilities because he's an attacking player. And of course, when you are playing for Alaves and you got 50 meters to run in, because when they play against the big teams in La Liga, he's got a lot of space to go on the counter attack. But most of the time, 70 minutes you play with the back against the wall. And well, Palistri is a young player and he can develop a lot, but he will never be somebody who will play in a team like this. It's not his strength for me. He should be given the freedom to be creative, to go from the right to the left to the middle and find pockets of spaces and just play his game. And at Alaves, I don't think he really gets this opportunity. Brian Sega says, don't need to be from Uruguay to appreciate the football culture. Uruguay is the David versus the Goliaths. Yeah, for sure. I mean, uh, no, you don't have to be from a certain place to develop a love for a certain place. You know. So this is also the case with football fans. I really hate it when when like Asian people, a lot of Asian people, or visit a club like Liverpool or a club like Manchester United, and they go to the games, and for them it's a great day, obviously, because this is their dream club. And then there you got people in the stadium or people online who saying, "Well, look at them here; they're ruining it for us, ruining the game, ruining the atmosphere." But I mean, what the fact that you were born in Manchester or Liverpool or Barcelona, whatever, doesn't mean you have the divine right to support a team. So these people have all the right, as many rights as the people who were born in this place. Have all the right to be there as well and support. Um, let's look for anyone in the chat who hasn't seen Tifa Fuba's video of Jose Leandro Andrade. Please do it. It's an amazing story. Yeah, you have to do it. I think I've watched it, but this is like this is or not the video, sorry, but I've watched read an article way back about him and his amazing story. Certainly, his great story in being one of the influential people to tackle racism in Uruguay or in South American football, because he was one of the first. Uruguay were the first country to play black players, and then they played in Brazil in a Copa America, and Brazilian people saw this and they were also inspired. But I probably will put a link of this article on later on the account, because I don't really know the exact details of the article as well, but it's a really good recommendation. Um, Another comment says, "What's your take on Maxi Gomez? What do you think? Why? Why do you think it hasn't clicked for him overall? Valencia are a mess, but I personally expect him to better in his career overall for Valencia and Uruguay." I'm with you on this. Obviously Valencia is a little bit of yeah of a mess, like you call it. But to score, I think it was 4 goals or 5 goals in the whole season last season. I mean, I don't care where you play. If you're a striker and you score 4 or 5 goals in 30 games, you're doing something wrong. So I'm disappointed about him as well, because when he came to Europe to play for Celta, I was, well, such a fan of his, and I really thought this was going to be a player that is going to do bits, going to maybe potential to be a world class striker. And we have to remember he's 24 or 5 still, so sure he can develop, but at the moment it's not been a great period the last 2 years. So yeah, it's I hope he can turn it around. Guian Castellino says here in Valencia, people are disappointed with the club. However, most of the fans support him. Yeah, I think when he tried, there was a period. I think it was last season that defense turned on him a little bit because of some instances and because of some of his performances where he showed, well, a bit of a lack of willingness and intent. Um, but at the moment, it's really turned back. I think he's being appreciated more because he also stated in media at the start of the season that he wants to stay here and wants to really turn his career around and be the striker that Valencia signed. Because we have to remember, in his first 2 seasons in La Liga, he scored 30 goals. And this is as a 21-year-old for the team that was fighting against relegation. So yeah, well, hopefully you can turn it around. This is the last question I would take. Also, the only that is still left, so that's good. And then yeah, I'm going offline, eat something, and prepare for the game. And then we will catch up on Twitter, obviously. There's a question from Lisa: which Bolivian player, if any, might cause problems for us today? Well, there's one that's quite clear. I will have a look if he starts because I haven't watched the lineups yet. Um, but I think he starts because he's the star player. Let me have a look. Yeah, he does. Marcelo Moreno, so he's the top scorer of the World Cup qualifiers with 6 goals, and he's also, well, he's their best player, the most famous player. So he will be a player that is will be dangerous. But I get the question because it's always interesting to see or to think about players that maybe could hurt us. But for me, Uruguay should only think about themselves and their performance, because if Uruguay play to the qualities and really just go for it and also try to entertain the fans, because hey, they are here for the first time in such a long time, then this should be a win. Great stream, man. Love what you do. Thanks a lot, and thanks for being here for a lot of questions as well. I still can't pronounce your name, but thanks for being here, and thanks for everyone who watched. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully we will enjoy the game more. So let's see. Bye bye.